Good.
Long time.
So, guys, today's conference call is dedicated to teaching urine therapy locally. Because one of the visions I had, and one of the visions Shivambu had when we put this together was to create outreach programs so that it would empower people wherever they live on the planet to do what we're doing in Boulder, to have meetings in libraries, to have presentations in popular plazas, and to be able to create a support structure for themselves offline, as well as invite new people that they know in the town. What do you think of what we're doing so far? How do you think we're doing?
Well, Sage, why don't you give a report about your recent, uh, you know, um, uh, what you did on the mall?
Thank you. So it took me 3 years to get over my resistance. I knew I had to take a bold step and get out on the street and talk about drink and pee, but I just couldn't get what my resistance was. So it happened one day. All I did was reach out to the city. They granted me a permit. I lined up a cameraman. We got a sign that says this. I don't know. Is it backwards?
No, it's good.
Okay, well that's what the sign says, and we pulled it all together for the 29th of September and the 2nd of October. The 29th was rained out, so we let that one go. We canceled that one, and then on Saturday at 10 o'clock, I was there at 9 o'clock setting up. Three of my friends made it: Kelly, Borja, you know these people, and Lisa Temple. So they alternate who was going to sit at the table and who was going to do what. The cameraman bailed on me, but Kelly did some awesome footage. You guys might have seen some of the filming. And all in all, we had 35 visitors at the table. And what's interesting is right behind where we had set up at the courthouse, they were having a women's freedom march with 400 men and women and children holding signs, women's rights, human rights, and that would pass by us about every couple of hours. So the people had great questions. All people were favorable. There was a couple of naysayers. And I learned that when someone comes up to you publicly and they ask you, well, what is urine therapy? My first question was pretty much the same. Can you keep an open mind? I wanted to, pre-qualify them before I start talking.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's a good question. Yeah, that's skillful.
The other question you ask is when people say, isn't it a waste product? Everybody knows it's a waste product. Your body eliminates it. Well, the question comes out of me is, where did you get that idea from? And you'll find out that most people don't have a strong argument. They just, they pass on what they heard, but they didn't research it. So we had a great time with people. It lasted about 3 or 4 hours. And the police came by and we talked to the police. The people who work on the mall security talked to the people in mall security. They kind of scratched their head going, I'm not sure what you guys are doing, but you have a right to be here. Have a good day. So all in all, it was good. And what excited me even more than doing that was once I posted it on YouTube. I haven't checked this morning, but as of yesterday, we've had 110 views. And it's doing quite well on social media. The original idea we put it together was to create a teaching tool to teach people how to repeat what we're doing in Boulder.
Huh. So it's interesting that the police came up. I mean, would they do that to anybody? To anybody set up with a table on the mall, or
only if they were wondering if the person has a right to be there. But typically, no, they just walk by. You're not a threat, or you're not doing anything wrong.
Did they ask to see your paper?
No, but I had all my credentials laminated and sitting on a table.
Cool. And so most of the people that you talked with who were newcomers, they how would you say they received the teaching?
I would say they received it really well, particularly the guys who came on and they were trying to challenge urine therapy and its teachings, but they kept staying and they kept staying. I noticed, well, if somebody really wasn't interested, wouldn't they walk away?
So what ways were they trying to challenge it?
Well, do you have any science behind it? Do you have any evidence behind it? Has anybody been helped by this? These kind of questions, and I could see the guy. They take their ego position. They're ready to come on after you.
Hmm.
And the guy would just he would ask the questions. I would reply as fast as possible, and he softened up. At the very end, people walked off with a business card with our website address.
So what your replies, were they mostly like factual, or were they experiential?
Both.
Both.
Yeah, I've
So
let them
when
know.
so when you told them that you've been practicing it for 25 years, how did they accept that?
Well, most of them said that's amazing.
That's amazing. So the testimonial works well.
Testimonial works well. So does third party testimonial.
In other words, so and so, that's their.
Yeah, I've got a friend who healed his eczema. I got a friend who got rid of smoking cigarettes. I got a friend who is healing multiple sclerosis.
And would you say that that kind of response, a testimonial, or experiential response, had more clout for people in general than facts, or the other way around,
I'd say
or
it
you
was
got
mixed. For some people, now the first thing I had to learn to do was a 30-second elevator pitch
right?
because you don't know how long their attention span will last.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was doing bullet points. It's golden water. It's ultra filtered blood plasma water that is designed to turn all kinds of uh, take your blood plasma. I mean, I went through the spiel in as short time as possible
Mm-hmm.
and doing my best to answer their questions.
Cool. Can you do your 30-second elevator pitch right now?
Yeah, urine therapy is ultra filtered blood plasma water. Basically, it's a amazing filtration that takes place in your kidneys to bring you thousands of nutrients that are designed as your perfect medicine.
Cool.
Indira,
Have you recently looked at the Wikipedia about urine therapy?
which
If
re- go ahead.
if if we really there is something about urine therapy, and it has references at the bottom that I saw some maybe last year or something. I don't know what is their recent take on it, but when people ask questions like that, even NASA has some research that they did. You see, why people would be interested in doing something that is so uh, unique or something weird or something that is questionable, or we can suggest that look it up, look it up, Wikipedia, to make your own judgment about things, to support, because unless they have research, they cannot say what they are saying, you see.
Yep.
Yeah, it's pretty innocuous what they say. Urine therapy, or urotherapy, also known as urine therapy, Shivambu, uropathy, or auto urine therapy, is an alternative medicine, and is the application of human urine for medicinal, or cosmetic purposes, including drinking one's own urine and massaging one's skin or gums with one's own urine. No scientific evidence exists to support any beneficial health claims of urine therapy. But they pretty much just go into John Armstrong and uh, you know
Christopher,
yeah.
I was somehow able to slip past Wikipedia trolls, and I was able to put in some of those words, Shivambu, and everything up until there's no scientific evidence. I've added several of those words in the content, and it slipped past their publishing police. I tried several times to add links to us, to our books, etc. They declined it, but that's still sitting in there.
So you're pretty much responsible for that entry.
For some of the beginning part,
Hmm.
and it slipped through the cracks. So I allowed it through.
I guess
Excellent.
if there's not a lot of contrary
Um,
evidence, then they don't have any uh, recourse but to accept what's
Yes,
available.
and I would invite anyone in the Water family to go back to Wikipedia and add anything you want to add. Let's see what we can do to pump up that page.
Really? So anybody can just go there and you go, what?
There's an
Like,
edit. There's an
ed-
edit link.
edit link. Okay. I mean, do you think we could get like our website on there?
Hold on, Matt's joining our call. Matt,
Hey, Matt.
are you here yet? All right,
Hey,
Mm.
all
that's
right.
a nice, that's a nice,
Aerial view. Hi,
uh,
Daniel.
skylight you got there in the background.
I really timed things poorly. I got carried away with my friend. I'm actually eating lunch at the moment out at the Ayurveda Cafe. So I'm pardon, I'm breaking the rules here. I think I wish to just show you the sky, but I will be here on the voice.
Okay, so for the guys who just joined us, we're limiting this call today for only 60 minutes. We'll be done in about 11:30. Excuse me, 10:30, 11:30. And right now we're talking about Wikipedia's listing on urine therapy. Matt, are you still there?
Yes, sir.
If you go to if you type in urine therapy at Wikipedia, you'll get this whole writing about urine therapy, Shivambu, urotherapy, all the benefits of using it, and then they say there's no scientific evidence. I brought in those words. Somehow I got past Facebook's Wikipedia's trolls, and they allowed that to stay. And what I'd like to see you and Daniel and other people in the water family do is go back to Wikipedia to that page and see if you can edit and add some of your own content.
Sure.
Okay, so you were able to change it then?
I was able to change it about a year or two ago, and I tried recently, but they didn't accept the changes, including the link to our organization and some other things. But I think maybe if we approach it differently, we might be able to add some content.
Okay.
And there may be some other Wikipedia pages on urine therapy.
Right. Yeah, personally, I've been a little bit annoyed with Wikipedia in my experience with them.
Yeah, we're just going to have to call them Wikipedia
Yeah.
for our own world. So,
I don't think I've ever met Daniel before.
Yeah, good. Nice to meet you. I saw some of your videos and I thought, well, next time they do it, I'll see if I can jump on.
Do you want to introduce yourself and just tell us, how long you've been at this and where you are and all that stuff?
where are you from?
Yeah, I live in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. And I guess I discovered urine therapy through allegedly Dave. You know who that is?
Yeah, Dave Murphy. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Dave Murphy. So I was I saw his late night interview on the late night show with Malenko, and that was on a different topic, flat Earth, and I was just I was so in love with what he had to say. I had to know more about him. So then he was interviewing some people, and they brought up urine therapy, and then he was saying, I know some people aren't so sure about it, and then the other guy was saying, no, it's all good. It's been through you. It's good to go. And I thought, what are you guys even talking about? I don't even I'm going to pretend I didn't hear that. But then I heard this guy named Josh X, I think, interviewing someone else about various conspiracy realities, I would call them. But the guy brought up urine therapy, and he said, okay, don't talk about that, because you know what? My wife has been a really good sport. I'm into all these conspiracies, yes, but if I do that, she will not tolerate that. So
That's
you can't
funny.
go there. But this guy couldn't help it. He said, my hair stopped falling out, and I don't even use soap, and I've been rubbing it on my skin. And Josh is saying, stop, don't go there, And I thought, so this isn't allegedly Dave anymore. One thing was just allegedly Dave. Also, one thing about allegedly Dave, I didn't even find out what urine therapy was, but it was Simon Dan who did a hit piece on allegedly Dave, trying to discredit him for his flat Earth views, and then he goes to his website and, oh, sure enough, here's here he's doing his urine therapy and doing this, and so I thought, okay, sure enough, it is drinking it. Okay, well, I guess I'll have to give him a mulligan. But when you have somebody else who's sold on it too, and he's been getting benefits from it and loving it, and just going, whoa. Now, I also, on Facebook, I'm a pretty big time pro-lifer, and then so they had this one video about the development of a baby in the womb. So I watched it, and they said, while in the womb, the baby drinks his or her own urine. And I thought, I don't know if I wanted to know that, but now I guess I do. So somewhere along the line, I guess I would say I decided I would start off with a sip and a spit. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And then, just drink as much as you feel like, and sometimes I wouldn't feel like drinking much and I would dump the rest and, so I think, and also, but this guy was talking about how he was washing with it. So I started washing with it too, but I would always rinse off with soap and on water. I thought I had to, until one day I was taking my urine bath and I knew my parents were babysitting my nieces and nephews. So I just finished the urine bath. I'd mopped, got it out of the tub. So there's no more urine in there. And then I was just going to rinse it out and then do my soap and water rinse. So I rinsed out the tub and we have a tub strainer. So I still remember rinsing it out, looking at that tub strainer and seeing how clean it was. So the only thing in that strainer was hair, and it was extremely clean hair. And I've never seen that before because I've done so many showers and baths where I'll clean out that strainer and I'll have to clean it out, 2, 3 or 4 times maybe. It'll have so much, it's almost like cottage cheese in it.
Oh, it's the mucus.
And I'm just going like, where's the cottage cheese? Where's the gunk?
Yeah.
After a urine bath, when I was cleaning out that strainer, there was no gunk. There was nothing. There was no dirt. It was as clean as a whistle. So I remember
cool.
what Leslie Dave had said is that he said urine is extremely clean. It's sterile. It's clean. And I thought, well, if that strainer's that clean, then I must be that clean after this bath. So why would I need to rinse off? So I went over to my sister's place and I thought, as I was going in the door, I thought, well, here goes. I hope this goes all right. I mean, I haven't really rinsed off, but I still remember my 11-year-old niece came along and gave me this big hug and just like she squeezed me, man. Like just going, okay, well. So only thing is, it's been a bit of a learning curve since then because you think I'm just gonna bathe with aged urine and not rinse it off and it's gonna be fine. Well, maybe I don't know. Maybe that hasn't gone as well as I hoped, but.
Right.
So what I've been starting to say is, well, okay, if I'm going to be using aged, then what's wrong with rinsing with fresh? Because I haven't gotten in any trouble with fresh. To me that seems. And when I say fresh, I mean like you've been storing it for a couple days, and you use that, and it seems like it's pretty.
Daniel.
Yeah.
Yeah, Indira has something to share. Let's give her.
I want to ask Daniel, you have been doing that. What are your immediate benefits that you saw?
Well, I would say even just the right people being attracted to me. Like I actually have a nickname for it. You're in therapy. So I still remember when I was living in Calgary, I'd be about to go off to church because, so I would say, okay, I'm going to do my urine therapy, right? It's my urine bath, and then go there, and it would work pretty well because there was a certain someone that I, was hoping to, get the attention of, and that definitely happened. And so, and that was even when I was rinsing it off. And so, but I can also say, because I mean, so in Calgary, I was living on my own. Here I live with I got pay rent to my parents, but I still remember this friend I hadn't seen in years, and he wanted to video chat on Facebook, so we did. And when he saw me, he said, "Wow, what kind of vitamins have you been taking? You look like you're 20 years old or something." And I happily took my Joel Osteen mug and took a sip of it and didn't tell him what was in it, but I knew what was in it, and I thought, boy, this therapy is speaking for itself. And that was before. So back then I was probably a little more shy than I am now, and I'm still finding my way. But so back then it was just pretty much limited to drinking, because how do you do the bathing thing when you're no longer living alone? And I'm still figuring that out. But
they're all alternatives. They're all alternatives, and if you'll PM me, I'll teach you some of those. But
yeah.
Before you get to your question, Indira, a question for Daniel and Matt is: today's conversation is about teaching urine therapy to the public, to local communities, ways that you can engage your public in discussions about self-healing and self-health care. How do you guys feel about, and if you're already doing this, let us know about doing this in your city and town.
Oh, Slightly different than the question I thought you were going to ask. I thought you were going to ask any suggestions for people. My suggestions would be read your books, especially the new one. It's like, really good on giving us language, P humor. I'm excited to bring the P humor. I got to practice my piss vocabulary. And then your latest videos are like great for the mirror neurons to like take a look at you doing it and seeing the energy. And that'll just like give me confidence because like repetition, mirror neurons. And then as far as me doing it, I'm looking forward to, it looks like you had to cancel the campaign for the yellow shirts that say, does a body good?
Oh, you mean this shirt?
Yeah, I ordered a yellow sweatshirt. Do you think that's going to come through?
I don't know. I got a notification. We might have to try a different approach. A notification that says they didn't meet a certain minimum to do printing.
Yeah, I think I got a refund on that.
I'll be back in just a moment.
Okay.
So like step one for me in New York is walking around with like a more prominent t-shirt than the lovely one that you sent. It's just a little too small for like spreading the message in passing. I want to just like, yeah, right. Yeah. Okay. Like money's an issue with me, which I'm working on right now, but yes, sir. Doing it in New York City should be exciting. But yeah, clearly what I'm saying is I'm a little far from setting up a table.
Well, you start wherever you are. There are places like in Boulder. Christopher, is there any way that Matt or anybody who's part of our water family can say they're associated with our nonprofit in case they need that as under that umbrella?
That'd be great.
Sure. I mean, we can we can form a board of directors. And
Associates?
yeah, yeah. I mean, I think at this point, yeah, it's Sage and I and Indira and VJ and McLean is sort of getting involved, and so we can just create a a little letter that has all of our names on it, and it'll have our letterhead and and signed by the signed by me.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
I used to do debate team, and having laminates, having something in your hand, really does something for convincing people. It's hilarious.
Right. Well, I'll do that. In fact, I'll probably just take what I wrote for Sage for being on the mall, and I'll just add I'll add us all in, and I'll put titles.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and I'll email that to you.
Cool.
And then you can, print it out.
Thank you, Christopher.
Yeah.
Been loving your music drops lately. Yeah, it's quite extensive.
Oh, thank
congratulations.
you. Thanks.
And my battery's dying on my phone, so if I cut out, I cut out. But I'm still here. Thank you for doing that. And wish me luck in getting.
Yep. Matt, you now have a way to connect with Christopher.
Yep. You got my email, Chris?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I'll send that to you.
Cool. Thank you.
Hey, Daniel. Thanks for that. I just wanted to tell you that we have a newsletter coming out. It's just about ready to release, and it's called "You're in the Spotlight." So there's a lot of plays on urine. That.
Oh yeah.
Happening. Yeah.
Oh, the fact that it sounds like you're in is just like so. Last I call it Shabbat Day, so I call this day of the week Shabbat Day. And in Winnipeg, they've been doing a Freedom March every week. So God willing, there will be one today. So last week, I knew Brother Sage was in Boulder doing his thing, so I was walking along Portage Avenue in Winnipeg with this sign. And if I passed a vehicle and they had their window open, I would say to them, "You're in."
Were the letters darker than they are now? They look faded on the bottom.
Yeah, I mean, I only had so much time to make it dark, but so I guess it might have been a little tough for them to see that what wasn't you're in, but in some ways, because people would just see my sign and they would read it and they would say, sorry, don't really quite understand what that's about. And then I would say, and then another way of spelling this is, URINE, and they would say, yeah, still don't really understand. And then I would have to explain what was going on. And so two guys in particular that I was able to really explain it to. And one guy was saying to me, but my urine stinks. And so, So
Yes,
and I
so-
think I think I've just been realizing that it even helps you be more conscientious about what you eat.
Well, it's a reflection of what you eat.
Yeah.
So, Sage, when someone says, yeah, but my urine stinks, what do you say to that?
I'd say, what do you eat? What kind of diet are you on? Because it's going to reveal to you your diet. It's going to reveal to you how acidic or how alkaline, just by the color, the texture, the smell. There's a lot you can do for identification or for, looking closer into people's diet.
Yeah. And I did a 3-day fast, maybe about a month ago. And I can testify that when you do that, then it definitely starts to taste like coconut water. Like there's nothing really disgusting about that. I mean, but I've also said to people, it's not necessarily the best thing I've ever tasted, but it's certainly not the worst either.
I mean, genuinely compare it to some cheap beer and it's like better, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Much better, and you don't have a hangover.
Oh yeah.
It's actually the cure for hangovers. Indira, go ahead.
Well, our Priya is kind of a newcomer in our group, and she has been practicing Ayurveda, and she's an Ayurvedic doctor. And I must tell her that in Ayurveda, urine therapy is considered mother of Ayurveda. Does she have any reference of this? That's my question to Priya.
Hmm.
Are you still here, Priya?
Yes, hi. The reference from where you are asked from textbooks.
Or anywhere where it is written that auto urine therapy, Shivambu rather, Shivambu is the mother of Ayurveda.
The origin came with it.
There are a few references, but it doesn't say like exactly what you said, but it is saying that it's useful. And there are qualities of different urines like camel urine, cow's urine, so how it is used for various diseases and healing. The same way human urine is also mentioned.
So that means that needs to be explored. Like you are in Middle East, and you have camels. I mean, we can use camel urine to get some ways to use wherever you are. So did they say that cow or camel urine is to drink by humans, or they use it to heal the wounds or whatever the camels are going through? How do they use camel
No,
urine?
they did not mention anything about how to use it. They would
Yes.
just mention the properties of, say, it is salty, sour, and it is penetrative. It has this clearing action like that. So when it comes to like same way with milk and different types of grains, so they explain each and every grain, but they don't mention actually in the shloka. Is not mentioned. So it says grains have these properties, this milk has this properties, and the urine has this properties. And then I think rest was hidden. It was more expounded in yoga than Ayurveda.
I see.
And
Well,
in Siddha also, other sages. So
we are using
urine therapy. These great saints, they are one of the 18 siddhas, and they have mentioned about urine therapy. And
Now-
they all called it Amuri. Yeah. So we
Right.
got references from that.
Brother Sage, hello.
Yeah, I'm here.
I think that this is a very good point that Priya is making, because Siddha medicine or Siddha ways of healing or using the nature to benefit humans is very well known.
Yes.
And so we can add that to our repertoire about what the Siddhas of, mainly they are from South India. There are 18 of them, and I think that that would add to understanding that how it is mentioned in the text of Siddhas. And
Can
Siddha is
you
spelled
H
Siddha.
A?
Yes.
Can you or Priya share that information or an article relating to Ayurvedic and urine so that we can share that at the hut?
Yes, can do that.
I mean,
Thank
she can even write an
So
article
Um,
we,
can,
be put in the newsletter.
Excellent, Christopher.
yeah, I just Priya was kind of her audio feed was cutting out, and I kind of missed what can someone just kind of reiterate what you're saying about siddhas and its connection to urine therapy?
yeah,
Priya?
Siddhas, okay, Brother Sage, you want to say that?
No, I'm gonna leave it to you.
Okay.
You are.
Okay, the Siddhas, there are 18 Siddhas, which are where they were great medicine men, they were great yogis
Okay.
who
Uh-huh.
explored the science of immortality
Uh-huh.
and along with medicine. So these two people that I were mentioning, one was Boganath Siddhar and another is Tirumular. Both of them have mentioned about urine therapy in their texts that
I
they have
see.
written.
I see.
Yeah, and they are in the Tamil language
Mm.
in the form of verses like poems. And they call it like Amuri, and they don't call it directly to mention urine, but they call it by different name like Amrit and Amuri. Amuri
Amaroli,
means, yeah,
right? Yeah.
ambrosia, yes, like that.
Hmm.
Amaroli, correct. Yeah.
What's the second word? Oh, it's just Amaroli.
Amuri.
Yeah.
They call just Amuri. Not Amaroli is
Amaroli.
another name. This is,
Amaroli.
yeah,
No, but Amuri is different spelling than Amroli.
Amroli, correct. They are two different words meaning the same urine.
So how Amuri is spelled? Amoori?
Amuri.
Oh, Muri. Amuri. Amuri.
Amuri.
Okay. All right.
We can look it up, and I'm sure that there is some things
Mhm.
in Google.
And Priya,
Yeah.
were you saying that there's more of a mention of it in yoga? Is that did you say that?
In Siddha
In Siddha.
system of medicine.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
So Siddha means, Siddh means in Tamil life force.
Oh.
So they all worked towards immortality and medicine was a part of it.
Mm.
So when a person is sick, and you have to resolve the sickness first and then only think about immortality. You cannot think about it with a sick body, right? So they worked for the ultimate yogic thing, self-realization and immortality. And on the way, they mentioned tools for using it, like to resolve diseases. And one of the tools was urine therapy.
Mm.
It is kind of a supreme tool. And then they also mentioned thousands of herbs and their properties and how they are used for healing diseases.
Yeah, and the Damar
So
Tantra.
Ayurveda came after Siddha. So Siddha medicine was more ancient than Ayurveda.
Oh, I see. So, huh.
Yeah,
So, and how,
yeah,
I mean, your Veda is like 4,000 years old, right?
yes.
And so Siddha is how old is it? 6,000?
There is no there is no age to put to it. It is, some say
Oh,
it's 10,000,
wow.
so there is no
Mm.
pinpointed age. It's
It
like
came
as
before
old as the
recorded history.
humankind itself.
Huh.
You're
So
muted.
yeah,
Yeah.
it would be
Indira.
good to get some of those texts or yeah, an article or something. Just referring back. It's like so far we can refer as reference for Shivambu. We can refer back 4,000 years, but with Siddha, we can refer back 10,000 years, or it'd just be good to have that.
Yeah, yeah. So Brother Sage has requested to translate his book in the Tamil language, which we are starting this Monday. My friend and I, we are together start. He is actually translating, and I'm kind of helping him edit. So we are starting day after tomorrow to do
Nice.
that, and we would include all the whatever Tamil references are there. We would like to add it to the book.
Hmm.
Uh, yeah.
It looks like Indira has a question for.
Okay, I think
Oh yes, sorry.
no. We are having a conversation, so I'm adding that
Mm-hmm,
in the recent references of
mm-hmm,
books and papers and things like that, they are aging the Ayurveda 6,000 and Siddha. I think maybe we need to do some research because
mm,
Shivambu name, how it originated, that will give us an idea because Shivambu, I mean, Shiva lived like a big entity, for thousands of years. So if we do some research, I think that will be very, very pertinent to engage people that who are even like, using a lot of Siddha medicine, Siddha herbs and things like that. So we can engage those people who follow traditionally Siddha ways of life, whether it is immortality or the herbs or lifestyles and things like that. So that's my input to all of us, and see that we can um, add Siddha element to Ayurveda and Shivambu. What do you think?
I love it. We're bringing in more references from more modalities and more different paths, and you're gonna
Yeah.
reach people. You're gonna reach people that you couldn't have reached before.
And it's kind of an arsenal of proof. I mean, that's one way of looking at it.
So Priya, yeah, that would be most helpful. Indira.
And the idea just came that, in the desert, in where the water is very, very scarce, you can use the urine that is passed by the lamb, or I mean the sheep or camels or cows or anything. You can collect and let them drink the same thing, because we have to give water to them. Then we are using all the resources that humans can use. But if you collect the urine of the animals, they will drink that and get well also.
Yes, and so can we. Do you remember about a year ago there was some woman, she was interviewed about drinking her dog's urine, and she said that it healed her. Well, she's a rare one. My hat went off her, but I've not heard of anybody else doing that. You familiar with the term gomutra?
Gomutra.
Gomutra.
That
Yeah.
is
Well, it's cow urine, but you'll notice that on the bottle now. My friend Anita, she was down in India meeting with a breatharian, and she thought of me and brought me some kombucha. And I had a difficult time with it because it smelled like a barn and it tasted like a barn. And so I used it externally, but I only drank it for a little bit and dropped it. But I noticed that on the bottle, it doesn't specify a gender. It doesn't specify whether it's a female cow, a male cow, or none of the above. And so that kind of reminds me of that when we talk to people about, are there any specifics? Can you drink another person's urine? Well, yeah, it's a universal water. It's a universal panacea. It doesn't matter your considerations about it. It's going to work, whether it's a man or woman, a black, a white, a green, an old person, a young person, a sick person, a healthy person. We could take in animal urine if we wanted to. We're just not choosing to do in this country. That's my thoughts on that.
Okay. I have one more question for Priya. Um, so are you considered a doctor?
Or a naturopath? Priya, can you unmute yourself? She's muted right now, Christopher.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Priya, go ahead and unmute yourself.
Ain't
Uh,
happening, but we've got links to her website. We can always get you connected.
Hey, that's better, Daniel. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, much better.
Okay. Yeah, do you know, Indira, do you
Priya?
know, is Priya, oh, there she is.
Yeah, she has a degree. I mean, from Indian Ayurvedic University.
Is she considered naturopathic doctor or a doctor?
No,
Ayurvedic.
yeah.
Go ahead.
I got disconnected for a few minutes in between.
Yeah.
So I'm an Ayurvedic doctor.
Ah,
Yeah. So
and,
not a naturopathic doctor. So the Ayurvedic doctor is not a licensed profession in New Jersey. Only in 10 states in the US, it is a licensed profession. So
ah,
I have a massage therapist license just
mhm,
for New Jersey.
mm.
Just to practice Ayurveda here. I need some state license, so I just wrote an exam.
The reason I'm asking is because I was wanting to get a nebulizer, and I was wanting to get a good one, and this one brand, the good one, requires a doctor's prescription, and I was just wondering.
Yeah, that's the reason. It
You need
has
a
to be
doctor.
a MD or a ND naturopathic doctor or osteopathic doctor to
Right.
prescribe.
That's what
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well,
Yes.
thank you.
Yes.
Does a
I have
prescription
a,
does a prescription have to specify what you're using it for?
I don't know. Yeah. It's just they just say. I was actually talking to the person on the site that was selling, the salesperson. They said, "Oh, by the way, you need to have a prescription," and they just give, a prescription, send it, and you can call it in or you can fax it in. So
uh,
Well, if you get through on that one, let us know because other people will want to know. Indira, by the way, we got 13 minutes.
okay. I will suggest Christopher to talk to this MD, and she can do that for you. You give my reference to her. Her name is Dr. Leh Johansson.
Leh.
Yeah,
Or
L
LEA.
H no Leah.
Yeah. Okay. Leah.
Yeah, Leah Johansson.
Johan. It's a
Uh,
double N.
no, Johansen.
SCN.
Then
Okay. And
Yeah.
her number.
Let's see. That I can. I just got an email from her yesterday, and she
yeah,
gave.
forward that to Christopher.
Yeah, I will do that. If I can find it, I can at the end. But anyway, she is a legitimate MD, and she's ready to help us and Vijay, and so I'm trying to build some rapport.
Cool. Cool.
Her an email,
Yeah. Is
and
so.
email.
So you're gonna. Do you have her phone number or is it?
Yeah, well, I would say info at Dr. Leah Johansson MD.com.
Is doctor spelled out or DR?
Yeah, DR.
Oh, oh, so it's Leah Johansson Dr.
No, you start with DR,
Oh, okay, got it.
Leah Johansson
Mm-hmm.
MD
MD,
dot MD.com.
and that's all one word. There's no dots in that.
No.
Okay, cool.
That's just no.
All
Yeah,
right,
no.
thank you, Indira.
So you send her an email
Yeah,
and ask and give our reference that you
yeah,
need a prescription, and you have to send me the name of that nebulizer so even we can order it.
yeah. I will as soon as I check it all out. Yeah,
Excellent. Thank you.
All right,
yeah.
I have an idea for Daniel. It's coming through now. We might be able to do this with anyone on the planet. For those people who don't feel ready to do a public local presentation. Daniel, are you listening to this?
Yeah.
Perhaps what you can do is organize people in your living room, library, church, or somewhere,
Hmm.
and patch me in on a Zoom call and we can do questions and answers.
Cool.
Okay.
So if anybody else wants to do the same thing, this is the first time I thought of this, we could actually create a virtual local presentation.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
reach out to me when you get a chance, and we'll just throw some ideas together.
Good thinking.
Okay.
That's what happens when you drink your pee. You get smart.
So I guess before we end, I just wanted to tell people that I've created a directory on our website, and it's basically what it is you can go in there and you can put in your testimonial for why you believe in urine therapy, and so I'm creating a directory so that in the future, when we are contacting people who are, like newcomers or people who want social proof, they can just go to the website, and it's going to be listed according to category, so they can go. It's like if you've had an illness and you've cured yourself through urine therapy, you can just list it in that illness, and then people who have that similar illness, they can just go to the site and they can just click on that and they can see the testimonies that are. Anyway, I'm going to put the link in the chat, and if you would, it's in prototype stage. I'm testing it out. So, but if you could go in there and do that, I would greatly appreciate it. It would help with getting it up and running and making it good for public use.
Yeah, please do there.
Okay.
Daniel, if there's anything you can think of where you might need support from any of us here, now we're all on the board of directors together. So if you need any support for what you're doing out in Canada, run it past us.
Okay.
Indira?
Now, do you have any suggestions for, because I mean, I definitely can say, again, I'm living with my parents, paying them some rent, but so obviously, like my mom was in here and there was a glass with some quote unquote water in it. She asked me what it was, and I said it was water, and she said, "Why is it that color?" And so yeah.
I might have peed in it.
Yeah. So, I mean, if there's anything you can think of where, let's say you were, two parents and they're, I guess 75 and 76 years old, and your son's doing stuff like that, and they're probably just thinking, "Oh, brother, what do we do?" I mean, what would help you to sort of realize that, okay, this actually is a good thing? Yeah.
I would like to talk to you off this call and
Okay.
throw some ideas. But the very first place you got to get to is that you're solid in what this is, and
Yeah.
you don't have any doubts. Your faith is at an all-time high. That
Yeah.
translates really well to people.
Right.
And we can
Okay.
talk about other ways to approach it off the
Okay.
call.
It looks like Goop Dove has something to add.
Unmute
Oh,
yourself.
you're muted. You're muted.
You're muted, Indira.
Okay, I have a suggestion for Daniel.
Yes.
When you are in that situation, like people questioning, your closest people, your parents, your children.
Yeah.
I would suggest that you put aside 1 or 2 minutes, calmly you think about, thinking very positively that they will be able to leave that distance from you, that, oh wow, he's doing something weird or whatever, why, what did I do to have him do this. You just connect energetically with your parents. Does that make sense? You think very positively that they will understand that and respect what you are doing.
Yeah.
Just
And
pass
make sure
that thoughts.
Yeah, plus eliminating from your mind any self-judgment or self-criticism you might still be holding, that you're telling yourself, I'm doing the wrong thing. This is crazy. Whatever you got to clear out, clear it out.
Right.
'Cause you got something that could save their life.
Yeah, yeah, and they have a friend who's in his 90s, and he might be kind of bedridden. And I was telling him there is something that could help him, but and I thought he needed a Kangen water machine. I was gonna buy one of those and then sell those, and then I think I've just come to realize I am a water machine, like, and I'm worth a whole lot more than $5,000.
We
So
all,
what
we
is
all
that
have water
machine?
machines.
What
Which
is that machine that you talked about?
It's
Knuckle.
called Kangen by Enagic. And it does make good water, but I now have a distiller, an H2O Labs distiller. So I've taken that Kangen water and put it through the distiller, and there still is some gunk left behind when it's distilled. So I would say I've found that distilling water is almost like a water X-ray. And so I mean I don't want to buy a $5,000 machine that still has gunk in the water, especially when I know I can get a distiller that gets everything out. And then allegedly Davis said, urine is distilled water with benefits. So
Huh.
It is. And did you guys know that the word distilled actually means the opposite of still? It means to make active. If you take the word apart, distil, it literally means to make active. This is why Andrew Norton Weber, Dave Murphy, Bernard Jensen, Norman Walker, they drank distilled water until they were 108. Norman Walker, because they found out it was a living water.
well, you're saying there's a 108-year-old who drinks distilled water? Really?
Yes, and
What's his name again?
Prime Minister of India was, well, how old is he? Indira, 99 or something?
Something like that, yes.
And
And he does that?
well, when he was alive, he actually came on 60 Minutes, and he was interviewed by Dan Rather back in the 60s, and he talked all about drinking urine. At one point, he challenged Dan Rather to drink his own urine, and he says, "I'm just going to leave it to you guys out in India. I'm going to pass." So he didn't
Thank
quite
you.
get it.
Hmm. I see.
So if you want to talk to me about that, we can talk as well off the
Yeah.
call.
Okay.
Last few remarks before we close out. Indira.
One more suggestion to Daniel. In Winnipeg, you are surrounded by the native people. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Native people have a urine dance, and there is a lot of literature on that. There are a lot of poems or poetry written on that. Maybe we can tap into the native population at some point.
Right. Because that march from the Forks to the legislature, that's being organized by the native people. Like they're the ones heading it up.
Yes. And I think that if they know, I'm sure they know it, but if we have something science behind it, and the urine dance that in Navajo or some in
Zuni.
no, I mean in New Mexico, there is a tribe, and there is
Zuni.
a record that was a record, that was a little booklet that is available in Berkeley University library. So we
Okay.
can access that, and I think Brother Sage has a copy of it. Old, 3 years ago. Remember, I sent you some, Brother Sage?
Yeah, you have to remind me. It was called the Zuni urine
Yes,
dance.
yes, that's the one. So Daniel can look it up, and we can create a one pager for natives to have these references. They can look it up and reinvent Shivambu or urine therapy in native people.
Yes, and what would be even more exciting to me is to actually see a video of the Indians doing the Zuni urine dance.
Yes.
All right, last few
So
statements.
what's the name of that guy who's 108 years old?
Norman Walker.
Okay.
Norman Walker, he wrote a whole lot of health books. He was one of my gurus. Norman Walker, Bernard Jensen. It was Norman Walker who invented the Norwalk press, which still today one of the best juicers on the market, because it not only juices it, but it presses it until you get the last drop of juice out of carrots and whatever you're juicing. It was Norman Walker.
What's the name of that juicer?
The Norwalk press.
Norwalk Press.
Norwalk.
I have heard about that juicer. Yes, it's very easy to clean. It is very easy to use, and they have model two or three. They have improved the models that they were selling few years back.
They used to be $1,000 new. You might be able to pick up some used ones somewhere.
Well,
Are they still in production?
I think so.
Yeah, just have to do some homework.
Hmm.
So, thanks for coming on the call today.
Yeah,
This
nice
was
to
our-
meet you, Daniel.
yeah, nice to meet you. So here's
Yes.
what I've got now.
Okay.
Yes,
Yes, much more readable. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So you go out on the street with that?
Well, I did last week, and maybe I will again today, because I mean, now I know from last week it was only so readable, but maybe that's the way it should have been, just to ease them into it a bit.
Yeah, and maybe to ease yourself into it.
Yeah.
But that
Yeah, because-
I commend you for going out on the street with a sign. That it takes guts to do that.
Sure.
And I said that to Sage, what he did, going down on the mall, sitting there with a table. It takes guts to be out in the
Oh
public
yeah,
and
yeah,
do that.
definitely.
So, yay courage. Yeah.
But I can say, like, when I do a urine bath, I mean, I don't feel like I'm never gonna bathe with tap water again. It's just feels so much better. Your
See,
skin just totally.
that's a great testimonial right there. I mean,
Yeah.
if you speak from your experience and you just say that, people go, "Oh, whoa, this guy."
And I have had people asking me, how long have you been doing this for? And I say since 2019, and then they'll basically say, yeah, and you look, like you don't look your age. So
Well, get used to it, Daniel. Few people can guess that I'm 67. So
yeah, wow.
we're doing something
Oh.
right.
Yeah, that is good. Yeah, I didn't know that. I would never know that.
I was born in 1954. Do the math. But I started urine therapy in 1994.
Okay. Was that before or after Monica shoot?
I started before Monica shoot. She started 22 years ago.
Okay.
And everybody got their influence, and you guys are here on the journey. And I need to close the call off.
Okay. All right. Thanks
Yeah.
everybody for being part of this movement.
Thank you. May the juice be with you. You know what kind of juice.
Yeah. Thank you.
Bye.
All right.
Bye.
Thank you.